Shanti. This is Andrew from Inner Space in Romford, and today we'll be looking at stillness and stability. I suppose you could say really as a general term that everyone is looking for that stillness and stability, because that's why so many people are drawn to the very quiet, still waters of rivers and ponds that are very therapeutic to the mind, where we have a very still breeze in the air, and it's just refreshing rather than a whirlwind. And we have the desire for stability whenever our finances go down, or whenever there are problems in relationships. We try to bring back that stability within them, which obviously gives us a feeling of security. So everyone on the planet, you would say, is looking for stillness and stability. Even for the party goers, once the party's over and they've got their hangovers and banging headaches, they want to be left alone and go into that stillness. And animals, when they recover from any kind of illness, sickness, they go and hide away, and you can see them closing in, going inside, as if they're switching off from any pain that's going on and managing all the pain that's going on and on. Stillness is to do with reliability, when it's actually an interest rate that is fixed at a certain rate. It means it's not going to bother your mind, because you know there's a constant inflow of the interest money coming on from your finances. Food in the cupboard gives stability. People being kind to each other gives us that feeling of being loved. That gives us security. That therefore gives us stability. But of course, all these things are not as reliable as you would wish them to be, because relationships do break down, and people do go broke, and people do lose their positions in their workplace, and they do lose their employment, and as an employer they do have to at times sack other employees, and you get this constant up and down of this world whereby it's not reliable, so it creates a great deal of fear and anxiety within the human mind. So basically talking about a stillness and a stability that is reliable, that can be made constant. It depends really on the individual, whether they have a determined effort to make it as still and stable, because this is only information, knowledge, but that's just the acquisition, but the utilization of that knowledge so that it actually becomes a part of you, so it's experienced and it comes into your awareness, rather than just information that is put to the back of the subconscious mind and we think may be useful later, but nothing really is useful until it becomes a part of your very existence, and then it actually has that effect to bring stillness and stability in your life. And we're basically talking really about 3 points of reference, really. The first point that we need to be aware of is the point of the self. So although the physical body is, and we do say that it's my body. The one who's saying that is the self, which is the being, the point of light at the centre of the forehead. So scientists have obviously looked for the soul, but they can't find it because it's not. It has a connection with the brain computer, but it works within the brain. And scientists are very much. Their experiments can't be conclusive because things keep changing. For example, the part of the head that was known to be for reading and writing was shot off in a war of a man named Lenzevisky in the 1917 Prusso-Russian War, and he wasn't able to read or write, but the soul reorganised its workers, reorganised its energy, and worked through a different part of the brain. So he became a famous war author, even though he's had the back of his head shot off and that part of the brain was damaged. So the soul is just using the brain computer. Once the brain and the body shut down, the soul leaves the body, and the soul is just a point and has its whole role logged within it, and indeed many roles logged within it. So the greatest form of concentration is on a point, but with significance. So the soul is a wonderful being, and that's the same as saying you and I are wonderful beings because we work these bodies through vibrations. So although that the body is being moved around, the soul is just sitting in the centre of the forehead, in the middle between the two, the centre of the head and the middle of the forehead. Meet the fingers towards that point, and you've got the point of the self. And all you're doing really is when you're telling the body to do a particular action, you're passing your vibrations in a thought form to the body. So the body is really under self-rule. The self rules the body. When the body seems to be working under its own control, that means that we've lost control. So we've lost stillness and stability. So on the one side you've got the I, the soul, sitting in the centre of the forehead, like the pigeon on the train, and the train is moving at 125 miles an hour, but the pigeon is remaining still. And it's that stillness that you experience from the point of your being. And it's just not just a point which is next to nothingness. It's like this point as well. This is a picture of the soul, and it's also a picture of the Supreme Soul, while one is in the body and one remains outside of the body, which is why we are human beings. So the human is because we have a form, whereas God is not a human being, but he is a being. So remarkably so, all the personality is within this point. And of course, when you move away from your role consciousness, when you move away from your gender consciousness, when you observe relationships rather than have relationships, you still are in relationships, but the relationship becomes one of friendship rather than familiarity. So your observation of other people's roles rather than that sense of ownership or that sense of belonging to something that is always changing. People's emotions are constantly up and down, another unreliable source, whereas your point of being is the point of peace, the point of stillness, and it's as stable as your effort will reveal it to be. So when you're connected to yourself, then there's that point, that source point of peace, that source point of light. And when you're connected to yourself as a soul, as eternal light, the mind automatically becomes filled with light. So the mind becomes quite heavy when it's connected to the physical and the material. But here you're connecting to the spiritual, so you're correcting the physical and the material. You're even bringing that back into balance. At the present time, it's gone into a state of imbalance because people have lost the identity of being a point, a single infinitesimal spark, a shining star of light. The eyes are the windows of the soul. The body is the thing that I'm using. Without me, the point, talking to you, the points at this present time. And I ask you to be in that awareness also of being the point, listening to a point, not even to look at the face and the body, but be aware of the point. It's quite easy for me because on the camera phone is just a point that I'm focusing on, so it's quite a nice experience to know that I'm talking to all my brothers and sisters out there as lovely little points, the embodiment of peace, the embodiment of light. So this is the first point where you no longer get caught up and entangled, if you like, with people's roles. So you're getting the power to be able to do that. And the next point is the point of the drama, in the sense of everything that's happening is meant to be what it's meant to be. It's what is. So even if you seek to change something, if you need to get a job and you need to go for a job interview, there's that awareness that the point is in this situation, which I'm in a situation of power, being the point, dealing with the drama that is meant to be what it's meant to be. I don't know the outcome, but I mustn't have the desire of the outcome, because that will build up hope if it goes right. And if I lose the job tomorrow, then I'll feel deflated and defeated and depleted again. Lots of people do a little prayer and hope that the tests on the body are such and such, and they have faith in God if it goes their way, and if it doesn't go their way, once again they feel depleted and defeated. So it's an unreliable source outside, but you still have to do, and you see what door is meant to open up for you. A door will open up because you're delivering power into this scenario, because your being stable and still is powerful, because it's in a disconnected state from being de-energized. There's nothing to de-energize it when you're disconnected. So you're connected in the sense of you're still doing, you still have to go through those motions, and you still have to go through those motions with a sense of pride, but not with a sense of expectation or desire. No demands. None of this you don't know what I'm capable of, and things like that, because that also goes in with relationships where someone doesn't believe you and they don't believe what you're saying, and you're trying to convince them. Trying to convince them is interfering. You don't need to interfere. You've put your case. Don't make a case. Bring what is to a point. It already is in a point. It's just our emotions that make us believe that the drama goes up and down, because we like things to go up. We don't like things to go down. We like things to be good. We don't like things to be bad. This is all an illusion. It will be what it's meant to be. It is actually at a point, because they're points of events that are happening in a person's life. They're not dramatic. It's the mind, that creates the roller coaster, where we say that I don't know whether I'm coming or going. Life is up, life is down, life is sometimes going my way, sometimes it's against me. This creates a disturbance and fear, because today you will feel like you've accomplished something, and tomorrow someone will say something and you'll feel like offensive or defensive. You'll either take on an inferiority or a superiority state of being. And if it doesn't go on outside, it will go on inside with, how dare they talk to me like that? Who do they think they are? But I tell you who they are. They're people that are playing an accurate role that they're meant to play, and they're meant to come in my life for a particular reason, is just because I haven't learnt the art of not going up and down with the drama. So though you're doing, and you're doing because of a need of the time, so you might be putting in for a promotion to make it happen, that more money comes your way. If it's meant to, it will do. If it's meant not to, it won't do. It shouldn't stop me trying, because the only thing that can stop me trying is if, when it knocks me back, I stay back and don't get up again. But actually we are the authors, if you like, of this drama, and the more I perform my actions without expectations of the result, then the more stable I'll become, and the more the world manifests that your wish is my command. And it's not really a wish as such, but it was your aim. So you're actually changing desire into an aim. You know, it doesn't matter if your aims are not fulfilled, but if they've got desire behind them. Desire is a negative passion of ambitiousness that is depleting energy. It will be my way today, it won't be my way tomorrow. And this is the second door, and this is necessary when you go to sleep at night, to put a full stop on the drama that's happened, because we will have not been perfect in being caught up in something. It might even be my own thoughts of something that I'm caught up in, because thinking is something that's happening. And when those thoughts happen, and the thoughts can come, what am I going to do today? And then you get caught up in the doing, where you start to plan things, and then those plans have an expectation behind them. So you're not really working under spontaneity. It's more to do with a plan. And there's a little joke which says, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. So, you actually end the day without thinking of the next 20 minutes, half an hour. You already know what you're going to do for the day work-wise or duty-wise. So there's nothing really to think on those things. So you're practicing being the point, doing, playing the role in the drama in namesake only, like as an instrument to bring your goodness into the event. So you're manifesting qualities from the point into whatever you're doing. If you think of what you've got to do today, there's certain things you'll have preference for and certain things you won't prefer. So that will take you up, and then the other karma, the other duty, will take you down. So all these things have to be neutralized, where no one thing is higher and no one thing is lower, because what's being processed is your goodness, your warmth, your presence, all coming from your peaceful stability and stillness, expanding into the drama of life. So whoever comes, there's no anticipation, there's no thought, or you're reducing the thoughts of, I'm not looking forward to when they come round, or I'm not looking forward to doing this, I'm not looking forward to tolerating this because they always push my buttons. Those things are messages being sent from soul to soul, from point to point. And as the saying goes, wherever you fear, you will attract. So you actually bring in your goodness. You don't actually live in any other time other than the present. Even when people talk about terrible things that have happened in the past, it is only in the present that they experience it. Without the present, you cannot experience the past. Without the present, you cannot even talk of the future. So there is only the present, and when I arrive where I arrive to, it will also be in the present. So there is nothing but the present as a gift, and I'm only dealing with a life that's moment by moment. I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere, just because, as Gandhi once said, there's more to life than speeding it up. So the quality, my quality of time, is being with myself, manifesting the peace and the qualities, the lightness, because the soul is peace and the soul is light. So I'm manifesting myself through what I do. I'm not getting confused in what I do as what I am. What I do is separate to what I am. How I do it can be the same, but what I do will never be what I am. So at the end of the day, when we've made certain mistakes and got caught up, just have a recall and just recall it to the mind. Forgive yourself. Give the burden to God. Give it away. Make yourself feel like it's been given away. Any mistakes have been given away, because that's the only way to forgive yourself. Because when we talk about forgiveness, we're talking about being repaired. And if there's not this reparation or repair that's taken place, then I'll still make another mistake tomorrow. So I should feel that I've given that away and it can't come back. It's finished because I've given it, and I have no right to it anymore because I've given it away to God, putting a full stop at the end of the day. And then the third dot is the one you would say good night to at that time. Good night to Baba or God, because he's the third point, the point source of light, which we make ourselves instruments of. God is known as Karan Karavan Ha, which means that he can work through his children, and we are all his children. So anyone can take the reins, really, if they want to make themselves into an instrument and allow God. Someone once said to me, they wake up in the morning and they say to themselves, let go and let God. So when you say good night to the source, the supreme being, there's the recognition also that you're sleeping in God's lap, a lap of love. So the drama is finished. It's a point. You brought it to a point. That's where all your power lies, bringing everything to a point rather than allowing to expand into your sleep state. Excuse me, partial to a cup of tea. So the third point is the source point, God the Father of the soul. I close my eyes at night and I slip into the lap of love, putting a full stop and allowing the past to be the past. God has forgiven me because he can't do anything else but forgive me, because he's the ocean of forgiveness. And also I've given my worries, my burdens away, and they won't be coming back again, so I can sleep in the lap of love with a light heart and a cool head, a loving heart and a cool head. And then as soon as my eyes open in the morning, the first words that I must speak, whether it be out loud or in my mind's eye, is good morning, Baba. If you like, good morning, God, but I prefer a more personal touch. Good morning, Baba. I, the soul, incarnate into this body to play my role with you. I allow you to take the reins of my role. You are mine and I am yours. And this oceanic being is the one that purifies, is the one that is the lighthouse and might house. And the more I allow him to do what he needs to do through my roles, this is the third point, 3 points of reference, which will leave us ever still, ever stable. My favourite experience, not talking about thoughts or information, but my favourite experience is of being with the Comforter of Hearts all day long. So just what I do, what I say is not really important, because I'm immersed in the love of the Comforter of Hearts, always there to comfort me. And this is such a powerful aspect of yoga, of meditation, of union, because when you see a child that's lost their parents and all of a sudden they see them, they really feel, as soon as their arms of the parents go around them, they really feel that sense of comfort again. They feel secure. And I remember as a child, my dad and I, we used to stand at the bus stop, and he used to wear this big brown coat with fur, synthetic fur, because he was an animal lover. Synthetic fur around the waist, and he used to have this fur-lined coat, all synthetic, and he used to open his coat and put his coat round me when it was cold and the bus was coming. And I never felt so secure and loved and comforted like that by any other human being, only when I was like a child, not in any lover's arms or anything, but only as a child with their father. It's such a significant, powerful form of protection for you that the Comforter of Hearts is with me. Nothing can happen to me. And so that's the 3 reference points that are powerful. It stops all the expansion of body consciousness, role consciousness, thinking of too much about weaknesses, thinking too much about other people's weaknesses. Even my mind feels tortured as soon as I start thinking in that way. So we do a meditation on becoming still and stable and being loved by your own Father. So I sit back and enjoy the ride, and my journey, my return journey, has always been one of returning to unconditional, unlimited, eternal love. And I sit as a child of God in the heart of the Comforter of Hearts. No one can love me like this one loves me. And my light lights up, because always was my fear that God would punish and God would judge. But now that I'm with the one that is the Comforter of Hearts, the Healer of Hearts, my love can also be the same. He is not judging me now. He has forgiven me, because forgiveness was really only about walking through the door and entering His world of unconditional love. Yes, I may not have chosen to walk through that door, and I would have been judged. But now I have opened the door and sit in the heart that is the biggest heart that has enough love for 7 billion souls, and all the animal kingdom and all the nature will be refreshed. The waves of love flow through my mind, washing away the questions, washing away my problems, and I feel myself becoming the conqueror of obstacles for others. The light and the might of Baba makes me into a lighthouse and might house of love, of power, of beauty, of sweetness, kindness and generosity. My heart is being comforted by the Comforter of Hearts. Two hearts beating as one. Om Shanti.